Hello everyone, Ron again, and in this video, we're going to talk about Ozone 10 and how it relates to the other plugins that are in this bundle. So, here I have a completely empty track, so this is sort of going to be like a mastering session, if you will. So, I'm in FL Studio 21. Now, what I would do is go and find this audio. So then, because this is a master bus, I'm going to dock it to the right. Now it's organized. I'm gonna go here. This is gonna have separate things, but I don't want any sampler doing anything weird on the mixer track. The first thing we're gonna think about is, how does Ozone 10 relate to the rest of these? Now, in general, because it is the mastering phase, it's the last thing that you're gonna do. So you've decided that your mix is where you want it to be, and now you export to a separate project because Ozone 10 is going to destroy your CPU if you try to keep it in the original with all those neutrons. So that's why we just have a totally new project open. The first thing that we have to do, apparently, is to add Ozone 10. And in this event, you don't really need anything else because it's only 1/2 track that you're just going to master. So now the first thing that I'm going to do is detect the tempo. It's 85, it's embedded. And then FL Studio will ask me, do I want to switch it to that? Of course I do, because I want it to be the right speed and the right length. So it is about 46 measures as it should be. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn this down. And this is not something that you normally do during a mastering session, but I don't want the audio to be too loud and clip when I put this on YouTube. So that's why Ozone is going to turn it up drastically. All right, and I don't want it to be too loud. So you got to find the loudest part of the track and then play that. It's about there. That's the section of the track where everything is in. Let's go to Ozone 10. And we're going to just be working here from now on. So when I go here, this is Master Assistant and it's waiting for audio. So I'm going to play the loudest part of the track, and you'll notice I made it repeat so it will stay around the same level and tonal balance. Okay, so Ozone 10 has successfully built the mastering chain and is dominating my CPU. So we're going to talk about how Ozone 10 relates to Audiolens. So back in the video about Audiolens and in the video about Neutron, I mentioned that Audiolens would capture a tonal curve of a song, and then you could open up that tonal curve in Ozone 10. So now Ozone is going to build me a new mastering chain based on that tonal curve. And what's cool is that this is actually my song. So this is the way that the tonal balance goes after I had mastered it. So now I'm going to adapt it to itself. So let's see what it sounds like. Real quick, gonna go here. Turn this down. That'll save some CPU. All right. So that's good. I might say What does this sound like at the beginning? It sounds good. It actually sounds pretty much just like the original. All right, so let's look at the choices that Ozone made. So we have the EQ. It added some information to the high mids, and it reduced the low. So that's good, because it's easy to get carried away with the low end and make it like too loud. Added stabilizer, impact. It has the imager right here, and it has the dynamic EQ before the maximizer, which is an interesting choice. So when I started to understand dynamic EQ more, I was basing my understanding on the way that Ozone worked. And it runs the audio against the maximizer, and then it takes out the problematic frequencies using the dynamic EQ after it's maximizing. It works very well. You got stereo imaging, and it's deciding to stereoize just a little bit right here. I probably did something similar while I was working on the song. I can't truly remember. It was a long time ago. And then finally, it's got the maximizer. It has true peak. It's a -1 because it is assuming that it's going to be on a streaming platform. So if I were to go over here, you have the integrated stereo and it's showing the LUFS value. And I would want to aim for like above -14. You know, usually I aim for like -11 LUFS. And I've seen that some people, depending on the genre, they mix around like -9 LUFS. And when it's EDM, they go even louder because like there are points where the song is just always hitting its maximum like the whole time. And that is where the true peak comes in, because after you do all that, you could have something that's called an intersample peak, and it could cause distortion over analog equipment. And that's the same purpose behind the -1 decibel ceiling here, because when they add compression to it, when they turn it into an MP3 file, when you give it to like Spotify or whoever you give it to, you don't want it to clip then because it will remain distorted and there's nothing you can do about it. So you just prepare it and give it the best chance for that not to happen. And these are basically different limiting algorithms. And this is the newest one. And over here, you can gain, match, and bypass. So I can hear what my mix would sound like without Ozone. Actually, that's a good idea. Let's do that. So there you go. So there you go. Now you can hear the difference. And this is off just using the mastering assistant. Ideally, you know, and in theory and in practice, you would adjust things within these modules. I'm not going to do that because that's not the purpose of this video. But that would be how the workflow goes because Ozone is sort of independent. So, you know, as I was saying, when I'm here, the way Ozone relates to Audiolens, which was like the first plugin that we covered, is that tonal curve that I captured all the way back when, not only would it help me to mix the song, but it would also help me to master the song. And then when all is said and done, regardless of whether I decided to use Audiolens or I decided to use Tonal Balance Control, I play the track. Then I would say to myself, huzzah, it's tonally balanced. It's probably going to sound good in other places. You know? and it's balanced for bass heavy, so I might still think about that. I might say, I want it to sound like modern, or I want it to be hip hop. Okay, so if it was hip hop, it would still be tonally balanced based on tonal balance control, and this is alright too. But I might say I want to add more high mids, and then I could think about that with tonal balance control because I know it's already tonally balanced. And the way this relates is I could say, all right, I'm gonna go here, go to the Ozone equalizer, control it from here, I'll increase this. While playing it, I could change it from here. And I could actually look at my voice and I could EQ it further if I decided to on either of the EQs that are present. You see? So when you use tonal balance control too, it also can control everything. So let's say if Ozone did not destroy your CPU like it does to mine because you have a better computer, then you could have potentially everything that was in the mix assistant here. And of course you would be using all audio stems because I don't think anybody's computer is that good that you're gonna have all the generators like copies of Citrus and MIDI data, but you're gonna have all the audio, and then maybe you have relays and neutron across the different tracks. You could put Ozone on the master bus. You have Audiolens has captured the curve. And after all of that, you can control some of these things from tonal balance control. You could control some of them from neutron. And you could control a lot of them from visual mixer as well. So with that being said, that is how all of the plugins relate to one another. And you can see that from the start of everything that we did, from Audiolens, I was already considering what I was going to do at the end. So that was the purpose of me finding the tonal balance curve that I captured with Audiolens before I ever got to the mastering phase. And that is the way that you want to think about your songs. And I'm considering that I should do a video about RX because it just makes sense. You know, when I am doing all of these things, I honestly do use RX as the final step, and I use it as the first step too, even before Audiolens, because you have to clean your vocals and then you have to prepare everything with Loudness and make sure that it's prepared for Spotify or whatever streaming service. So, yeah, I'm gonna make that video after all. I was deciding on it at the end of the last video. I'm gonna do it. In the meantime, you can review the series, go back to the beginning, Audiolens, and really take your time and consider these concepts and practice on your own tracks. Make sure you leave any feedback for other types of videos that you want in the future. And regardless of what you do besides that, I hope this video was helpful. Like, comment, and subscribe. And have an awesome day as usual. Peace.